So I'm from Macclesfield, England, which is about an hour away from Manchester. And I was born there, all my family is British, and when I was 1 year old my parents said they wanted to move to France. It had been their dream since they met each other, and they wanted to have holiday cottages, so that was their business. And after 11 years they said, we've had enough, we want to move to Australia. So it's a bit of a big shock for me, particularly because I grew up in France, all my friends were there. I've never been to Australia. We're just about to move to a place I've never been to before, on the opposite side of the world from all family and friends. After a while of living in France and it raining every day and not getting very good grades at school and not, I was ready to move, definitely. I was excited to start something new, something from scratch. So when we moved to Australia I was 12, and just before my 13th birthday, just before I became a teenager, so that was good. It was a new start for that, and I'm so happy we're here now. So last year when I went back to France on exchange to Lille, I went with the intentions of a year, not obviously to make friends and to have fun and to study abroad and grow up as a person, but I went because I wasn't too sure if I wanted to live back in France. Well, went through a year, and after a year I knew that I couldn't live in France again, just because I've experienced Perth and what it has to offer and how easy things are. Yeah. I am very much in love with Perth. I'm not too sure if it's the place I want to live for now, just because I feel like there's more happening maybe in Melbourne or Sydney or Queensland over east. But I think for settling down and having a family, I think Perth is the perfect place. The general differences would definitely be the attitude people have. I think people are a lot more, I'm talking in very general terms, but I think people are a lot more laid back here. I think there's a lot less pressure. You know, the rates of unemployment aren't that high. I feel like there's less stress, it's less elitist than it would be maybe in France. I feel like in France you have to go to a good university, like if you don't go to university you're doomed. You don't go to a good school or, you know.
Like here there are other ways to achieve.
Yeah, exactly. It's more, you can take 20 years out of university and go later, you can be a mature age student. I think it's a lot more open and open-minded than that fact, and you can study to have a trade or go to TAFE or do music or art. I think it was maybe a bit more accepted to be a bit more free. So, pros of living in France, the food. I love baguettes, croissant, cheese, wine. That's definitely the benefits. It's the culture. I love the old buildings. I love walking through and feeling history. Whereas maybe in Australia's quite a young country, so you don't necessarily feel all that history that other European countries might have. I love how when you go to drinks at somebody's house in France, that you share drinks, that everything goes on the same table and you serve yourself from that. I like that kind of communal kind of thing, and I think over here it's more every man for himself and looks after himself. There is so many British people here because obviously Australians have a lot of ancestors that are British because of the British colonisation. So yeah, it's a lot more accepted to speak, well, because we speak English, you know, so it's a lot easier for us and we're not put apart or anything. You know, Australians call people that arrived here in the 50s and 60s and 70s, sorry, as £10 poms because it cost them £10 to get to Australia. Yeah. When we moved to France, being British, obviously we set aside because one, my parents didn't speak the language at the time. Just like, I think British culture and Australian culture is a lot more similar. Maybe Australian culture is very similar to American culture as well. It's more of an Anglo-Saxon culture, whereas when we moved to France it was very different because we didn't really have the same values, not the same cultural traditions maybe as well. So. My favourite places to eat, one of them has got to be Uncle Billy's, which is in Chinatown, and that is bring your own alcohol, so that's always good if you want to go on a night out afterwards. One of my other favourite places is the Curry House. I think it's called the Vegetarian Curry House, which is on the Esplanade, and my sister took me there, and it's like sort of like a buffet. There's not many choice in curries, but they are really nice, and you just pay on how much you think that meal was worth. So there is a lot of homeless people that go in as well, or people that don't really have much money. But the best places for food, I would say definitely Leederville. There's plenty of places for brunch, to have like tea and cake, or to go for a nice dinner with your family, particularly like pizzas. The best places to go in Northbridge, if you just want to have a good night and party to like R&B tunes or like the 90s, would definitely be go to the Court. That is the LGBT club, and everybody's so nice there. Like you can't leave the club without making a gay best friend.
Do you feel like it's more expensive to go out in Australia than in France?
It's so expensive, it's really expensive. That's why we always free drink before we go out, and then club entry, it depends on the night or the time that you go in, but it can be between, you know, it can be free or up to $20. Usually bars are free entry, but make sure you always have your ID on you. Never go out without it.
Your passport.
Yeah, always have a passport because they don't really believe your French ID cards just because they're laminated, and I think they look a bit fake as well. It looks like you can make it yourself, so yeah.